Well, hello again. It's Kevin Kyler with Environmental Inspection Dynamics, and today's presentation is going to be about an education and installation video. And you're looking down there saying, basement winter effect, well, what's that all about? Well, let's take a look. Let's push forward on that. Okay, basically there are two types of residential basements, insulated or unsulated. Uninsulated. Heat loss occurs in the winter. That's pretty easy to understand. The loss occurs because of lack of insulation. Yes, another Chicagoland suburban winter. How could we forget these? Ever wonder what's going on there? Where the exposure of your foundation is above the grade level? Well, I'm going to explain a little and give you a little tip off of what's going on. So let's pull out the pointer here and explain what's going on. Heat loss follows the second law of thermodynamics. Simply put, it goes from warm to cold. This is pretty basic, isn't it? I just want to show you something else. I put that insulation in a question mark there. That really needs to be insulated and even more. We're going to bring this one up again later on in this presentation and show you how to change that. So let's see some dynamics. Hey, Kev, it's in your company name. All right, what are we looking at here? This is the foundation in the basement, of course, with no interior insulation. And look at the number on the temperature heat gun, 46. Ooh, what's this? No exterior insulation, and it's 42. Now think about that. 46, 42, you mean there's only a 4-degree difference, and it's 30 degrees outside? You know what? There's a lot of loss going on there. Heat loss. Where's it going? I'm sure you're going to ask that question. Let's step back and look at it a little bit differently. Ooh, thermal imaging. Now, to give you an idea, heat outward through the foundation. That's where heat is going. So you understand something. In thermal imaging, anything down there in the blue to black is very cold, and anything up there in the red to white is warm. So that's pretty warm, and that's heat coming out right at you. You can't stop the loss, but you can reduce it. Ooh, told you I was going to bring this back up, and it changed a little, did it? I want to remind you something else before we get into that change. You know, up here it says earth grade level with snowpack, and you got to think about how far down does the frost go? That's dependent on how much moisture there is in the soil, and generally it'll go down to 30, maybe 46 inches, 48 inches in this climate zone. We're in climate zone 5, by the way, okay? So just to give you an idea, so sometimes down here, it'll stay at the natural temperature that Earth is when you go deeper, about 55, I think, okay? So just keep that in mind. Now, let's go back to this again. Winter heat loss flow follows the second law of thermodynamics. Let's look at this. It's going into the wall, through the wall, and it goes boink, boink, boink. It's trying to get out. It will eventually get out. Now that there, what you see is an install FP ultralight panel. And we're going to see more on how those go in, because that's what you're going to learn about installation education. But look at this other pink stuff up here. Get it? You know, the pink insulation from Owens Corning. Insulation is a must here. And it's also a must here where it's got to cover what's known as the sill over the foundation wall. Without this, heck of a lot of heat loss. And by the way, a little heat loss can sneak through there, as we will see later. So as you can see, this is called exterior insulated basement walls and the winter effect. So let's move on. Here's how. Okie dokie. I got to bring this up. Please note, this is advocated for control measures, and we do not endorse this by EID. Okay. This is about these FP ultralight panels. And by the way, I got mine through Menards, and I'm sure there's other big box stores where you can purchase this. So let's move on. Okay, does it work? That question should be on your mind. So let's grab the pointer again here and talk about something. I got to reveal this is in my house. Look at the temperature on the gun there, all right? This is the concrete floor slab in the basement that transitions to the wall. I used a great primer sealer called Gripper. And I would suggest if you're going to coat your basement walls with it, use that. So let's kind of move upward from this point. Look what's going on at the top of the wall. Notice 60 degrees. And 24 degrees outside. Hey, that's not bad. Now, I want to tell you about something else. You remember what I spoke about, how important it is to insulate here, which is called the rim joist pocket. So let me explain what's going on in my house. Now, you can see this is not a fiberglass. It's known as 3% wet blown-in cellulose. The wetness is there so that it sticks and adheres, and believe me, it really does that well. But you can see something else is that it's all filled, besides the rim joist pocket, it's filled down here on top of the foundation so that it covers that foundation sill plate, which you can't see. It's in there, all right? I can't tell you as much how important this is, and when I finish, I'll remind you of that again. Well, exterior insulation panels applied. Again, this is my house, all right? I'm using it as the guinea pig. Remember that? Where there's no panels, okay? Remember this when there is panels, all right? And by the way, I shot that temperature right about there, okay? So we're going to have to do some math here. Get your calculators out. Math says 14 degrees Fahrenheit difference. Well, again, what does this say? Foundation panels reduce. They don't stop the heat loss. Notice the heat arrow comes out. It's warm in the basement, and as it goes through the wall, which it will, it doesn't lose so much as it goes back outside. You cannot stop that. That's second law of thermodynamics. All right, let's get to the installation part. I'm going to not spend a whole lot of time. This panels come in 2 foot by 4 foot, and they do come in 1.5, and 2 inch thick. I used 1 inch, and that's about an R5 value. By the way, my exterior walls are rated, I think, in an R16 value with the insulation. We use the stucco gray because that's the color scheme in my house, and they're by Styro Industries. And they also supply J channels with 1 inch tappets and washer. Don't worry about that. We'll see that. So let's start. Cutting. Yep. So let's see about cutting. By the way, that's how they come. There's 4 to a pack. Now, gotta cut them. By the way, a table saw does a great job. And as you can see over here, I got a vacuum because when you cut that styro, that stuff goes all over the place. So you want to keep it down to a minimum. Now, here's the yield, okay? Guess what? Out of a 2 foot by 4 foot panel, now I've got a linear yield of 8 feet. So let's move on. Oh, yeah. Do you like to dig? As I laugh. All right, let's talk about that digging. And you've noticed that the colors change. Well, I'm not going to do this in winter, obviously. Watch as this loads up, and I'm going to explain a few things, and let me grab my pointer out here. All right. When you're going to do digging, well, you're up against this. And oh, yes, look it. You got some roots down there, all right? Now, you've also got to work with shrubs, evergreens, and plants that you might have, right? So, in addition, back here is the mulch. I rake that mulch away. Did you know that that acts as a great insulator? So guess what? You got to put all that dirt back in there. That's why digging down 26 plus inches is a bit of a task. All right, now we're on the west side of my house. You can see it looks a lot easier. We got more room. These tools, there's the hammer drill, the driver drill, and this is the tarp because you got to dig that out and you got to displace it. That there is a trenching tool, all right? That made this a little bit easier. So you got to take all that and put it back and pack it, right? Now on to something else. Laugh with me a little bit. You can almost see the tracks here. When I'm using my tractor and I'm mowing, the mower deck sometimes got a little too close to this and just sheared a nice groove in there, going all the way down to the pink inside, all right? So I decided to put these pavers and hold them about an inch, 8 inches away. Gee, Kev, that's a novel idea. Now guess what? Since I replaced this, I'm not running gashes into it. Okay, the things you will need. First up, you're going to need a hammer drill. All right. I've had this baby for 40 years. Good deal for 40 bucks, huh? And that's the drill I use for that. And you're going to see about these Tapcons in just a bit. There they are. Okay. I suggest you use 3/16 by 1 3/4, and you have to purchase the right size drill or they will not work. These, as stated, the 1-inch tappets from Styro Industries. Now you're going to need a 1/4-inch masonry drill because that's the size you need to set these into the foundation. Now I'm going to show you the assembly here. Let me put my pointer out. That's the J channel. Okay, you can see that they come in 10-foot lengths as shown, and there be these tappets that go through this part into the masonry of your foundation. Now, these are the other things that you're going to need. So I'll pull up my pointer here. Yes, you need foam board adhesive. And by the way, that was back 12 years ago, I'm going to guess. I bet it's doubled now, that price. All right. Next thing, you're going to see why you need tin snips. So let's move on. Now, this is a bit of an assembly of all the panel, okay? These are those Tapcons, and that is the channel. That's why you need to have the tin snips. So let's look a little further past the assembled sample here. This is at the bottom. This is where those Tapcons go in. And by the way, I'm sorry, those are tappets. These are Tapcons. Get it right, Kev. The reason you put those in down there is so that it will hold this panel up while that adhesive sets, okay? Just to make sense. Okay, how about a little proof in the pudding? I've heard that before. Let's walk through with this, and I'm going to pull my pointer up. Come on, pointer, here we go. Look, 32 degrees on the foundation, okay? 16 degrees on the outside. On the siding, that is, and it's 14 degrees. So you should be asking yourself, how come that's only 16 and that's almost double that? Well, because the heat is being resisted by the insulation through the wall, but not there in the concrete of the foundation. Remember that. All right. Remember this? Yep, where's the heat going? Like it's coming right out at you, all right? By the way, you know something how sensitive thermal imaging is? That's my footprints with boots on and the heat going through the soles of my feet out through the soles of the boots went into the snow. Pretty sensitive, huh? But that's just to show you how much heat loss is occurring there and how much less is occurring there. Okay, so let's put some a little proving to this. And stay with me, I've got a lot to explain, so I'm going to grab my pointer. Notice on the Insulite FP panel, 15 degrees. Up on the siding, 18 degrees, and it's 14 degrees outside. Look at this. The snow isn't right up against there. We'll get back to that in just a little. Stay with me. All right, that's a little bit better picture. You can see where the snow is melted back. And don't forget my footprints there. Now, coming out at you, let's answer some of these questions here that I'm sure it'll be provoked. Notice this. That's the field of the house, the walls of the house. And that's an R15, R16 value. The Insulite panels is only an R5. So you can ask, well, why is there heat loss there and why so much here? All right, let's talk about it. Hey, don't forget my footprints. Look at the amount of heat that's going through. That's only F5 because it melted all that snow. Remember that? Let's talk about this channel. It's shaped like this. The outside, you see that uplip. This goes back to the wall, and the one that goes against the concrete wall inside goes down. It's that portion that has the transmissive qualities of the steel. In other words, all that heat in the basement goes to the foundation and through the foundation wall into the steel, and boink, it comes out right at you. Those are important things you have to realize that, again, read this. The heat loss is slowed and reduced. It is not stopped, okay? So you may ask this question, the why you may want to do this. And again, I got a little bit more to explain here, so read with me. Properly insulating your foundation is very important from a moisture intrusion perspective. If you let moisture build up in the form of icing, that is, on the exposed rim joist pockets, you most certainly will create conditions conducive for mold growth. Why? First off, because it's uninsulated, that is wood. And wood is one of mold's favorite products, cellulose. So if it gets wet, guess what? Mold is going to start there. Now, another important thing you must know. If you're going to do anything, say you don't want to dig and put those panels in outside. I understand that. That's a lot of work, trust me. But you've got to make sure that your rim joist pockets are insulated and insulated properly. For instance, let's say you go buy yourself some craft paper-faced R19, which is not bad. You go more than that. But remember this. If you have a paper face or foil face or whatever kind of face there is there, make sure you're seeing that face as you push it in properly, cut, of course, to fit nicely in that rim joist pocket. And try to make sure that you're covering the sill that sits on top of the foundation. That, my friends, is so important. So if you're going to do anything, do that. Dancing dollar signs? So, as stated, we'll close with this. What's the dancing dollar signs? Why insulate foundations? It's your money going out through the wall. There it goes. Bye-bye. Just wanted you to know that. So we go on. Here I am. You can again. I'll get my pointer out here. You can email me. And if you don't like emailing, well, you can call me, text me, leave me a voicemail. I'll get back to you. Glad to help you learn about this. But again, I'm not installing. I can get you started, and that's about it. But if I got to travel a great distance, I have to charge a travel charge. Hey, thanks for watching. Bye.